Ridge Racer for the PlayStation Portable (PSP) is a high-energy arcade racing game that brought the legendary Ridge Racer series into the portable gaming space in 2004. As a launch title for the PSP, Ridge Racer was designed to showcase the system's capabilities with fast-paced gameplay, smooth graphics, and a classic soundtrack that fans of the series appreciated. The gameplay is classic Ridge Racer, emphasizing drift-heavy mechanics that made the series famous. Players race through a variety of tracks inspired by previous titles, with a focus on high speed, tight turns, and extreme drifting. The Nitrous system, a new addition to the series, allows players to fill a boost meter while drifting, giving a speed burst that adds a layer of strategy and excitement. The game offers several modes. World Tour, the main single-player mode where players progress through a series of increasingly difficult races. Single Race, for quick, one-off races. Time Trial, players compete against the clock. Wireless Multiplayer, using the PSP's Wi-Fi, players could race against each other locally, a feature that stood out for a handheld game in the mid-2000s. Ridge Racer for the PSP was praised for its faithful adaptation of the franchise to a handheld format and became one of the system's best-selling games. Its impressive graphics, enjoyable drifting mechanics, and multiplayer option made it an enduring favorite for PSP owners. The title also helped set the standard for portable racing games, proving that a console-quality experience was possible on a handheld device. Overall, Ridge Racer on the PSP is remembered as one of the definitive racing games of its era and a classic for fans of high-octane arcade racing games. Ridge Racer for the PSP was developed by Namco, who sought to bring the series' signature arcade racing experience to a portable console while making use of the PSP's advanced hardware capabilities. The development aimed to capture the feel of classic Ridge Racer titles and introduce players to a visually compelling experience on Sony's new handheld system. The project aimed to strike a balance between a familiar Ridge Racer experience and innovations that could elevate the game on a new platform. The development team wanted to stay true to the series' roots in terms of fast-paced, drift-heavy gameplay, but they faced challenges in optimizing these mechanics for the PSP's hardware limitations. As a portable console, the PSP had less power than Namco's home consoles, so the developers had to be creative in achieving smooth performance without compromising the graphics and handling feel. The team focused on developing a graphics engine tailored to the PSP that could handle fast rendering, realistic lighting effects, and car models with a high level of detail. Despite the smaller screen and reduced processing power, Ridge Racer on PSP was remarkably close to its PlayStation 2 counterparts, featuring highly detailed car models, track textures, and lighting effects that rivaled console visuals. The addition of a nitrous boost mechanic was a significant gameplay evolution introduced in this version. To make drifting feel rewarding in a new way, Namco implemented the nitrous system, allowing players to fill a nitrous gauge through skillful drifting, adding a tactical layer to the gameplay. This mechanic also encouraged players to master drifting, a staple of the Ridge Racer series, and use it strategically in races. The boost helped with overtaking opponents and navigating tricky turns, adding depth to the game's mechanics. The PSP version of Ridge Racer had impressive technical aspects for its time, particularly given the hardware limitations of a portable console. Namco developed a custom graphics engine optimized for the PSP, focusing on rendering high-quality visuals without compromising on performance. The engine was designed to balance graphical fidelity and performance by efficiently handling textures, lighting effects, and environmental detail. The game runs at a smooth 60 frames per second, a remarkable feat for the PSP and a crucial factor in delivering responsive and immersive racing gameplay. Maintaining this frame rate on portable hardware was challenging, and Namco's solution involved simplifying certain background elements while focusing on detail in the cars and tracks. The game employed dynamic lighting and shading techniques to enhance realism and create visual depth, with effects like sunlight reflections on car surfaces and subtle lighting changes in tunnels and shadowed areas. While these techniques were simplified compared to what was possible on consoles, they made the game visually striking on the PSP screen. To add immersion, the developers used particle effects for dust and smoke trails, tire marks, and nitrous boosts. The PSP had limitations with particle handling, so effects were optimized to keep the visual impact high without slowing down the performance. With only 32 megabytes of RAM, the game had to make the most of limited memory, especially in handling high-detail models, track data, and loading times. Developers minimized memory usage through techniques like texture compression, data streaming, and optimizing asset load times. Since the PSP was a portable device, the development team had to consider battery drain. Techniques to reduce CPU load, such as simplifying background elements and optimizing the frequency of high-energy particle effects, helped extend gameplay time on a single battery charge. Some players noticed minor issues with collision detection, particularly when drifting close to walls or other cars. Occasionally, cars would seem to clip through edges of objects or bounce off with inconsistent reactions. This was, however, not a major issue and didn't impact overall gameplay significantly. Some players reported a slight stutter in the camera when using the nitrous boost or drifting at high speeds. This was more of a visual hitch than a gameplay problem, but it could be a little distracting, especially in heated races. The local multiplayer mode had occasional connectivity issues. Due to the limitations of the PSP's ad hoc wireless capabilities, some players experienced lag or disconnections, particularly when more players joined. While this didn't affect single player, it could lead to frustration in local multiplayer. Although not a bug, the PSP's analog nub wasn't as precise as a full-sized analog stick, which led some players to struggle with fine control while drifting. This was a hardware constraint rather than a game bug, but Namco's attempts to optimize for the nub were appreciated by most players. Ridge Racer for the PSP enjoyed strong sales and was one of the most successful titles on the system, particularly given its status as a launch game. Its success was helped by the game's role in showcasing the PSP's capabilities, making it a popular choice for early adopters of the console. Ridge Racer sold well upon release, benefiting from the series' established popularity in the region. It quickly became a bestseller and continued to sell steadily after launch, appealing to fans of both the franchise and racing games in general. In Western markets, Ridge Racer also performed strongly. It was seen as one of the definitive launch titles for the PSP, leading to strong initial sales as new PSP owners looked for games that highlighted the console's technical abilities. By the end of its sales cycle, Ridge Racer had sold over 1 million copies globally. These numbers were particularly impressive for a handheld game at the time and helped solidify the PSP as a viable platform for console-quality gaming on the go. Contributing factors to success. Being a launch title positioned Ridge Racer as a must-have game for new PSP owners. Its reputation as a classic racing series and the quality of this entry contributed to its strong sales. Portable consoles have traditionally been popular for pick-up-and-play games, and Ridge Racer's arcade style suited this well. The quick race format and easy-to-grasp controls made it appealing for both short sessions and extended play. Positive reviews highlighting the game's graphics, smooth performance, and faithfulness to the Ridge Racer experience helped drive interest. Many reviewers recommended it as an essential title for early PSP owners. Overall, Ridge Racer on PSP was one of the system's biggest early successes and played a part in encouraging more developers to bring high-quality, console-like experiences to the PSP. It remained one of the PSP's most fondly remembered games, often praised as one of the defining titles for the handheld. And that brings us to the finish line on Ridge Racer for the PSP. This wasn't just a fast and fun game, it was a milestone for handheld gaming, showing us that a pocket-sized console could deliver a true Ridge Racer experience. Namco's classic drift mechanics, memorable soundtrack, and impressive graphics made it a must-have for early PSP fans. Now, what about you? Did Ridge Racer define your PSP memories, or maybe it was your go-to racer on the go? Drop a comment and let us know. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, please give us a like, subscribe to No Drama Llama Gaming for more retrospectives, and share with fellow retro fans. Here on the channel, we're all about celebrating gaming's golden moments and keeping retro alive. Thanks for watching No Drama Llama Gaming. Until next time, happy racing!